Welcome back. It's a pretty miserable Sunday afternoon out, so nothing else to do other than sit around the house. So I said I may as well come out, maybe just do a few of the gutters or something. Don't particularly feel like it, but may as well get something done. So strike on with it. That'll keep me busy for a little while. Yeah, a little while later, that's a relief. It's not completely finished, but this side is all welded in. And the burns there, I just had it burns away that stuff, but yeah, still need to run a grinder down along the back. There's a bit of one's a bit raised there, so I'll just grind that down a little bit, and then I'm just going to give it all a coat of some kind of paint to protect it. Still have the other side to do, but all in all it didn't take long, and I'm glad to have it done because I wasn't sure what I was going to do there, but quite easy really in the end. Right, so I just went out the gutters on this side now. They're all done. I thought I'd maybe have a little walk around because a lot of people are kind of going, oh, I want these, I want to get one of them, I'd like to do the project, whatever. Maybe I'd show you some of the things that you could look for if you're going to look for one. I'm not an expert on T25s by any means, but I've been messing around with this old crap forever. So I get a fair idea of what to look for, and I knew full well before I started the condition of this van. It was no surprise. This is my wife's project as such. So I had we talked about it and decided, yeah, we'll do up the van. It was sitting in the yard for a year, not belonging to us, but waiting to be done. And I had first seen it a year before that. I hadn't realised quite how bad it was. If I show you a picture here, and you can just see how it could look okay if you're standing there looking at it. So there could be plenty in an ad that could be far worse than what they first appear. So just show you that. Now, after taking a good look at this in the first few days outside, I got it up in blocks, had to crawl around under it, and I kind of made the decision. I said, look, this one isn't for you. Probably walk away. We'll just come up with a new plan. We go buy a van, do a conversion or something like that. I do like my old Volkswagens for whatever reason, Golfs, etc. So it was a bit sad to let this sit and rot, even though it's not exactly my dream car. But it's a nice style of van, and I do like them. I had a bay window before, and I've worked on T25s before as well. So I thought, well, okay, maybe we could look into buying one, maybe reshell the whole thing. But then having a look online, a lot of the symptoms I could see straight away, and you were spending what it would cost to repair this, we'd be spending on a van to begin with. Like a good one that hasn't been repaired or worked on too much in the past, or at least was repaired very well, are expensive vans. So yeah, we'll take a look over a few of the things that I think may be of some use to you. So we'll go through that. Now, I was talking to a friend here the other day about body lines and why I would bother to try and save a line like this or a line like these. And to me, it would be a cardinal sin to cover up any body lines or delete them or fill over them, etc. They're very good. Okay, they're not critical, but if you see this line's filled over, I don't believe any professional repair would cover a body line like that. It should look straight and even, and they should all be present. You should have a line across here. Up here, this wheel arch line should exist. The same with here. I mean, if the sills are getting bad and been fillered and bridgered over, you're likely that line's going to be disappearing. Um, Same along here. So you have two lines running all the way up. I mean, it's not to say that the repair is bad. It's just you may want to make sure that it's at least metal and not filler. Now, as for rusting seams on these things, it is a kind of a bigger problem than it appears when you first look at them. I mean, you see a little bit of rust and it gets ground out and stuff, but basically it means those two flanges are, they're rotting between. They're probably gone, which in turn would eventually separate two panels. If it's had a replacement panel, this one won't rust. But what I would check, so if you think it's had a replacement panel, I would check what they've done underneath, because what will happen is the top of the reel arch will rot out. And as well, that if it was repaired and re-welded back on inside there, that it's been well sealed and kind of well done on the inside, because otherwise that's just going to create you a problem again in the future. But yeah, fixing those seams is one of the more difficult jobs in these vans. Just like that, a little rusty seam and it's a replacement quarter panel, and that's a bit of a nuisance. I mean, these are easy enough to take a look up under, see what you've got. At least whatever repairs under there can be hidden. I mean, the gutters, I got lucky in that the underside was okay, so I had something to weld to here. I've talked about the boot lid already, what happens on there. But yeah, that's just a few of the things you could look out for anyway. I mean, obviously look around the wheel tubs, etc. There's always rot. Always rot somewhere around there. Given this one anyway. And it seems that the swing arms are notoriously bad as well, and probably quite awkward to replace. And they're only actually quite thin metal, so you need to make sure that they're okay. Any blistering around the windscreen, I mean, I'm guaranteed that when I take this windscreen out, that this is probably gone in the base along here, or in there at least. Easy enough to repair to do once the windscreen's out. But because that windscreen sits back at an angle like that, and these rubbers always collected water, they did on the Golfs and stuff too, you could always just pick up on the spin outside and water pour out from inside it, which ain't great. Get a bit of rust down in there as well, which is awkward to fix. So that's what I think about the seams anyway. The other thing which everybody should always check on vehicles is the door gaps. They're quite big on these vans, but bad repairs again will show that's pretty common knowledge when going to buy cars and stuff, that door gaps and stuff, bonnet lines, etc. need to line up if they've had a shunt or anything. But for the most part, I suppose with these vans, it's generally rot is the issue. The other thing I would say is don't fall in love with the camper van. Maybe don't even go inside it until you're happy with the outside, because it's very easy to jump in the back of the van of a camper and go, oh look, it's got cooker, fridge, it's lovely, look forward, get excited about sleeping in it, etc., and going away on trips. And at the end of the day, if it was a 30-year-old car, is it how clean the seats are is what you'd be looking at, or how nice it is to be in, and not really pay too much attention to the outside. So yeah, like they are old vans. How old is your car? If your car was 30 years old, would you be, think about it a little bit more. That's what I want to say about them now. I guess one other thing that would be an issue, especially with camper vans, is they might do very little mileage. I mean, the T25 is kind of small enough that I think most people use them a lot as a daily driver or whatever. But if it's been parked in a farm shed, which a lot of them are, doesn't have to be a farm shed, look out for rats. Rats, mice, especially in something that's got food in it. I've seen more than enough cars come in that have just had rats through them, and I don't even want to work on that. It's just and they do get into them. And yeah, do you want to sleep in something that's had rats in it? So that's just my few things I would say to someone anyway if they're considering buying them, because yeah, it kind of, a lot of people can end up with a camper van without having real, classic car knowledge or vintage car knowledge, and it can be expensive mistakes, especially if you can't do it yourself. So just a few things to bear in mind, and hopefully it helps someone and saves someone some money. Might save them a bit of grief like this anyway. Anyway, back to it. Okay, so I've just gone along the back of those now, done all the insides. And I've also just gone along the gutters there inside with a skinny cutting disc and cut out the sealant beside the fiberglass all the way along. I'm gonna paint that gutter a little bit now, just brush some paint onto it so it has some paint on it for the time being, and afterwards I might get I'd like to use one of the primers, the sealant primers they have to put in there, but we'll see. I use some sort of a tiger seal or something like that along in there after. So I'm just going to give those a little bit of paint now, and the inside of this here, just because I'm touching it all the time opening the boot lid. And as soon as that's done, then I'm going to start removing the windscreen. Just popped out the windscreen, pretty much what I expected, gone there in that corner, and obviously in the other one where we could see it was gone on the outside already. That's what I mean, that rebate slopes down, so the water that steel catches just sits here and rots them out. Again, not a hard repair, just another piece. I do cut the windscreen seals, just cut it around the inside, because not along the bottom, just on three sides. I would rather not risk breaking a windscreen taking it out. It's scary enough putting them back in, so I'm happy to put a new seal in it. They're usually a bit perished anyway, and for the sake of 50 quid, try and save the windscreen. Just forgot to show this while it was cut out. Just welding in the patch there, and this little section over here. Nothing much to it really. Sometimes they do get rust on the inside of the dashboard, or there is rust inside there from time to time. This one's not too bad in there actually. So there's the two corners done. Had to do a few little spots along there as well, just where it was gone thin. There was a couple of little kind of rust blisters there. Yeah, simple enough piece to do really. Yesterday evening I just gave the gutters a little coat of paint, it's just old metal paint, but I just keep the rust off them for now. There was one little section here when I was cutting through here with the grinder, it actually went through the base, so I've decided to just cut it out, and I'll do a patch for there now as well while I'm at it. So just for a bit of a change, I decided to go take some pieces off. Been meaning to get that bumper off for a while to see what's going on under it. Not sure how deep those are yet. I will grind them back. No doubt I'll have to cut them out and weld the piece in there, but not too bad in there really. Just two bolts on the side. I'll probably cut the bottom bolt out of that bracket before I put it back on, and put a fresh bolt in it, because I couldn't take the bracket off. I had to take the bracket off the bumper and wasted loads of time at it. A little patch needed in there. This thing's pretty rotten, and the one had fallen off the other side. I think that's just to support the big bumper. Other than that, pretty good down there. Going to clean up that seam a little and There's a bit of blistering on the side beside the indicator, but that's okay. This panel has just arrived. Tall panel for the side. So actually 10 quid cheaper than the short panel for some reason. Not sure why. It doesn't come with ends on it. There's no returns on it. And it's left a little long, so I guess they just form it and must be made a bit cheaper or something. Same heavy gauge, reasonably same gauge steel and everything, so don't know. One thing I'm wondering about, maybe someone has some ideas on it, is I don't like these louver vents at all. I'm pretty sure that just lets water in and it sits on the floor behind the kitchen unit, and hence there is no floor anymore. I may look at some kind of marine vents. Most of those are pretty good at keeping water out. This had plastic kind of over the back upper half of it, but it's not really a vent if it's covered in plastic, is it? So yeah, and not to mind, they're kind of hideously ugly, but I don't want to put those back on, and I'll probably change out that one too, which will mean I'll have to do a little welding along here somewhere. Sorry, some little bit of welding along here to repair the bottom of that, but I think I'll get rid of that one too. So if you have any ideas, just stick it in the comments, or any links to something a bit nicer than those. I'd appreciate it. Now, I've done very little filming of that. I've been in and out and doing bits and pieces all day, but got that panel fitted in. Took a bit of lining up with that back one, the wedging out from behind, and a bit of tapping around with a hammer until I got those to line up. And I was just building up that little section down there as well. But it's all welded up now. I do need to weld the floor inside to the back of it, but that is all the body work on the outside done, except I may cut the base out of where that vent is there. I may as well get that, do an improvement on that while I'm at it. So I'm going to get all this ground down now and take a look at it then. So that's the last panels put in. Yeah, got to do a little bit around that vent. Again, because I'm going to change the vent, I may just fill that for now and cut out the size for the new vent, whatever type I get. There's that panel completely welded in, and that section down there as well. A bit of work in putting that in. Just trying to get it all to match up, really. There's a bit of effort in, and yeah, trying to get it to come down far enough on the sill and things like that. But anyway, there it is. Right, so I'm going to leave this video there. We'll be getting the bodywork finished off in the next video, and then moving on to some other stuff at last. So don't forget to share, subscribe to the channel, and please hit the like button if you enjoy watching. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.